Maria Clara trembled when she saw the shadow glide down the hallway. The teacup almost slipped from her hands. Inside the room, Mr. Peterson was breathing with difficulty, pale as a sheet. His wife, Mrs. Beatrice, held his arm firmly, insisting with that sugary, false voice, "You need to drink it, darling, it's for your own good." But Maria Clara was certain now. That wasn't medicine, it was poison. And if she opened her mouth, she would be the next to disappear from that cursed estate. Before we dive into this story, leave your comment with a rating from 1 to 10 and tell us what city you're joining us from. May this moment bring reflection and emotion to your heart. The red dirt road stretched like a dry scar cutting through the valley. Maria Clara clutched her worn suitcase to her chest as the bus disappeared in a cloud of dust. The driver didn't even wait for her to get off properly. He accelerated and drove away, leaving behind only the fading roar of the engine and the heavy silence of the deep country. She looked around. Santa Cruz Estate sat atop a hill, surrounded by tall eucalyptus trees that looked like motionless soldiers guarding the path. The building was imposing, one of those old country mansions with thick adobe walls, high windows, and an elaborate iron gate that must have been over 100 years old. Maria Clara had come a long way. She left a small town in a drought-stricken region, where the dry spell had killed the crops and taken away any chance of a future. Her Aunt Joanna, who worked in New York City, got her the contact. "It's a big estate, girl. Old money people. They need someone to help around the house. You're young, you're willing, it'll work out." But now, standing in front of that silent mansion, Maria Clara felt a tight knot in her chest. Something about the place didn't feel right. Maybe it was the way the birds weren't singing, or how the wind blew cold even though it was a bright, hot midday. She took a deep breath and walked to the gate. She rang the doorbell. The sound echoed inside, loud and metallic. A minute passed. 2. Nothing. Maria Clara was about to ring again when the main door opened. A tall, thin woman appeared in the doorway. She must have been in her early 50s, her hair pulled back in a tight bun, wearing a simple but well-pressed black dress. Her face was stern, without a hint of a smile. "You're the girl Joanna sent?" The voice was dry, direct. "Yes, ma'am, Maria Clara." The woman descended the veranda steps with firm strides and unlocked the gate. She opened it just enough for Maria Clara to pass. "I'm Mrs. Hilda, the housekeeper. We work properly here, no gossip and no slacking off. Understand?" "Yes, ma'am. Come, I'll show you around." Maria Clara followed Mrs. Hilda through the garden. The plants were well maintained, but everything seemed too quiet. Not even a cicada chirped. The house inside was even more impressive. Exceptionally high ceilings, antique dark wood furniture, Persian rugs faded by time. Everything smelled of floor wax and mothballs. The house has 3 floors. The ground floor is for entertaining: living room, dining room, library, kitchen. The second floor is where the guest rooms and the study are. The third floor is private. Mr. Peterson and Mrs. Beatrice's private wing. You only go up there when called to clean. Never enter without authorization. Understand clearly? Understood, Mrs. Hilda. Your room is in the back, near the kitchen. You'll share it with Josephine, who helps in the kitchen. Breakfast at 5:30. Work starts at 6, lunch at noon. Dinner at 7 in the evening. Day off once a week, Sunday afternoon. Maria Clara just nodded. Mrs. Hilda didn't expect a reply. She continued showing the rooms in a hurry, as if she wanted to get it over with. "And Mr. Peterson?" Maria Clara asked as they passed the staircase leading to the 3rd floor. "Is he sick?" Mrs. Hilda stopped. She turned slowly, and for the first time Maria Clara saw something different in that stern face. It looked like fear, or perhaps it was weariness. "Mr. Peterson isn't well. It's been over a year. The doctors don't know what it is. He stays in his room, hardly ever comes out. Mrs. Beatrice takes care of him." "Poor man. Don't ask questions about the family. Do your job and that's it." The tone was sharp. Maria Clara swallowed hard and lowered her gaze. The room in the back was small and simple. 2 beds, an old wardrobe, a window that overlooked the backyard. Josephine, the other employee, was a short, plump woman in her 60s. She smiled when Maria Clara entered. "Hi, girl. Welcome. You can put your suitcase there. That bed is yours." The contrast between Josephine's friendliness and Mrs. Hilda's coldness was a relief. "Thank you, Josephine. Just call me Josephine, dear. We're all just folks working here." As Maria Clara arranged her few clothes in the closet, Josephine chattered on and on. She said she'd been on the estate for over 20 years, since before Mr. Peterson got married. She talked about the food, the schedules, how Mrs. Hilda was strict but fair. "And Mr. Peterson?" Maria Clara asked softly. "What does he have?" Josephine was quiet for a moment. She glanced at the door, as if checking if anyone was listening. "No one really knows, child. It started out of nowhere. He was always strong, hard-working. He ran the whole estate. Then suddenly he started to feel unwell. Weakness, dizziness, headaches. It got worse and worse. Nowadays he barely leaves his bed." "And the doctors?" "Doctors came from Philadelphia, from New York, even one from abroad. No one can figure it out. They say it might be a rare hereditary illness, but I find it strange." "Strange how?" Josephine shook her head, as if regretting having spoken. "Never mind. It's none of our business." But Maria Clara noticed. There was something wrong in that house. Something no one wanted to talk about, but that hung in the air like a brewing storm. That first night, Maria Clara lay on the hard bed and stared at the ceiling. She listened to the sounds of the estate, the wind in the trees, the creaking of old wood. And from upstairs, from the third floor, a muffled sound that resembled a moan. She closed her eyes and tried to sleep. Tomorrow work would begin in earnest, but the tight knot in her chest wouldn't go away. It was as if the whole house was holding a terrible secret, and she had just walked right into the middle of it. The alarm clock rang at 5 in the morning. Maria Clara woke with a start, her heart pounding. It took her a few seconds to remember where she was. Josephine had already gotten up and was getting dressed in the dark. "Good morning, dear. Come on, Mrs. Hilda doesn't like tardiness." Maria Clara got ready in a hurry. She washed her face at the cold tap in the shared bathroom and followed Josephine to the kitchen. Mrs. Hilda was already there, preparing a tray with tea, toast and jam. "Maria Clara, you will take breakfast to Mr. Peterson. Third floor, last room down the hall on the left. Knock, wait for Mrs. Beatrice's permission, leave the tray on the small table, and leave. Don't stare, don't ask questions, understand?" "Yes, ma'am." Maria Clara took the tray carefully. She went up the narrow staircase leading to the third floor. The hallway was long and dark, lit only by a window at the end. All the doors were closed. The silence was so heavy she could hear her own heart beating. She reached the last door. She took a deep breath and knocked 3 times. "Come in!" The woman's voice came from within, soft and controlled. Maria Clara turned the doorknob and entered. The room was enormous, but the curtains were closed, leaving everything in semi-darkness. It smelled of medicine and something sickly sweet and cloying. In the center, a large 4-poster bed, and in it a thin figure covered by white sheets. Beside the bed, sitting in a red velvet armchair, was Mrs. Beatrice. Maria Clara almost dropped the tray. The woman was beautiful in a chilling way. She must have been about 40, but looked younger. Fair, smooth skin, blonde hair styled in an elaborate updo, a light blue silk dress that shimmered even in the dim light. But what was most striking were her eyes. Blue, icy, that seemed to pierce through Maria Clara as if she were transparent. "You're new here." It wasn't a question, it was a statement. "Yes, ma'am. My name is Maria Clara." "Leave the tray there." Maria Clara placed the tray on the small table next to the bed. That's when she saw the man. Mr. Peterson was lying down, propped up on pillows. He must have been in his 50s, but looked 70. His face was pale, almost grey. His eyes were sunken with purple shadows. His hands trembled slightly on the sheet. He looked at Maria Clara with a blank expression, as if he wasn't really seeing anything. "Fernando, darling, your breakfast is here." Mrs. Beatrice stood up and took the teacup. "Come on, you need to drink it while it's warm." He made a weak gesture with his hand, as if to refuse. "Don't be stubborn. You know this is good for you." Maria Clara stood there, unsure whether to leave or wait. Mrs. Beatrice brought the cup to her husband's lips. He took a sip, then another. He grimaced, as if the taste was bad. "You may go." Mrs. Beatrice dismissed Maria Clara without looking at her. Maria Clara left quickly, closing the door behind her. She leaned against the hallway wall, her heart racing. There was something very wrong with that man. It didn't seem like a common illness. It seemed like someone being slowly consumed, wasting away like a plant without sunlight. During the day, Maria Clara followed Mrs. Hilda through the rooms, learning the cleaning routine. Sweeping, mopping, dusting the antique furniture. Everything had to be done carefully. The house was full of expensive objects, antiques that couldn't be broken. In the afternoon, while cleaning the library, Maria Clara heard footsteps upstairs. They were light, quick. Then the sound of a door closing. She looked up at the ceiling, curious. That's Mrs. Beatrice. Mrs. Hilda appeared in the doorway, carrying a bucket of water. She leaves her room sometimes to tend to her plants. She has a greenhouse out back. She likes plants. It's almost an obsession. She has some rare species in there, which she cultivates with great care. She doesn't let anyone in. Maria Clara found it strange but said nothing. She continued cleaning the shelves, wiping dust from the old books. That's when a title caught her eye. Medicinal and Toxic Plants of the Americas. The book was thick, bound in dark green leather. She looked behind her. Mrs. Hilda had left. Maria Clara pulled the book from the shelf and opened it. It had colorful illustrations of plants, with detailed descriptions of properties, medicinal uses, and toxic effects. One page had its corner dog-eared. Maria Clara opened to it. Dumb cane, Dieffenbachia seguin, a common ornamental plant in gardens, highly toxic. Contact with the sap can cause burns. Ingestion causes swelling of the glottis, respiratory difficulty, intense pain. Maria Clara felt a chill run down her spine. She continued reading. Oleander, Nerium oleander, ornamental. All parts of the plant are extremely poisonous. Symptoms of intoxication include nausea, vomiting, cardiac arrhythmia, muscle weakness. Several pages were marked, plants with beautiful names and lovely flowers, but that could kill. "What are you doing?" Maria Clara nearly screamed. She slammed the book shut in surprise and turned. Mrs. Hilda stood in the doorway, her arms crossed, her expression stern. "Sorry, Mrs. Hilda. I was just cleaning and I saw the book. Put that back and get back to your duties. Don't meddle with the owner's belongings." "Yes, ma'am." Maria Clara put the book back, her hands trembling, but her mind wouldn't stop racing. Toxic plants, a private greenhouse, a man wasting away without a diagnosis. Could it be possible? No. She was getting carried away. It must be just a coincidence. But that night when she took dinner to Mr. Peterson's room, she paid closer attention. Mrs. Beatrice poured a liquid from a small bottle into his tea, a transparent liquid that mixed in without a trace. "It's your medicine, darling. The doctor said to take it every day." Mr. Peterson drank obediently, his hand trembling so much that the cup clinked against his teeth. Maria Clara left with a heavy feeling in her chest. She lay on her bed and stared at the dark ceiling. Josephine was already asleep, snoring softly. What if it wasn't medicine? What if it was poison? The idea was absurd, but it clung to her mind like a burr. Why would a rich, beautiful woman, married to a well-to-do estate owner, do such a thing? For money? For freedom? Maria Clara turned on her side, trying to push the thoughts away, but sleep wouldn't come. She kept thinking about that pale man, his empty eyes, his trembling hand. She thought about the beautiful, cold wife with blue eyes that showed no emotion. And she thought about the book of poisonous plants with its marked pages and colorful illustrations of death. The days passed in a grueling routine, each day feeling like an eternity. Maria Clara continued doing her work normally, but inside she was planning. She needed an opportunity to get a sample of the poison and maybe photograph the jars in the greenhouse. With that, she could go to the police station and make a formal complaint. The problem was that Mrs. Beatrice became increasingly vigilant. Maria Clara felt the mistress's icy gaze following her through the halls. Sometimes she felt like she was being tested. One Wednesday afternoon, while ironing in the utility room, Maria Clara heard Mrs. Hilda calling, "Maria Clara, come here." She dropped the iron and hurried over. Mrs. Hilda was in the kitchen, her arms crossed. "Mrs. Beatrice wants you to clean the third floor, the guest rooms, the study, and the hallway." She and Mr. Peterson will be downstairs in the living room, so you'll have about 2 hours. Do a thorough job, as that floor hasn't been properly cleaned in a while." Maria Clara's heart pounded. 2 hours on the 3rd floor. Alone. It was the chance she'd been waiting for. "Don't worry, Mrs. Hilda. I'll make sure it's spotless." She gathered her cleaning supplies and went upstairs. The 3rd floor was empty and silent. Maria Clara started with the guest rooms, but her mind was focused on something else. Mr. Peterson and Mrs. Beatrice's room was at the end of the hallway. She cleaned quickly without her usual meticulousness. She wanted to finish quickly to have time to investigate the master bedroom. When she finally reached the last door, she stopped. It was risky. If Mrs. Beatrice suddenly returned and caught her snooping, but she had no choice. She had to do it. She opened the door slowly. The room was empty. The curtains were open, letting in the sunlight. Maria Clara entered and closed the door behind her. She started searching. Wardrobes, drawers, dressing table. She needed evidence, something that linked Mrs. Beatrice to the poison. On the nightstand next to Mrs. Beatrice's bed, she found a planner. She opened it. It had notes about dosages. 10 drops, morning, 5 drops, night. And dates, a detailed calendar of the past few months. Maria Clara took photos of the pages with her phone. Her hands trembled so much that some were blurry, but the content was legible. She continued searching. Under the bed, she found a shoebox. She opened it. Inside were more glass jars, identical to those in the greenhouse, and a notebook. She opened the notebook. It was a diary. Mrs. Beatrice had written everything. The plans, the dosages, the symptoms her husband exhibited. There were also calculations about the inheritance, plans for what to do afterward. Maria Clara felt nauseous. It was all true. Everything documented there in the killer's own handwriting. She took photos of several pages. She was so absorbed that she didn't hear the footsteps on the stairs. The door opened. Maria Clara turned, her phone still in her hand. Mrs. Beatrice stood there, her icy blue eyes fixed on her. Time stood still. "What are you doing in my room?" The voice was low, controlled, but there was a clear threat behind it. Maria Clara tried to speak, but no sound came out. Her phone slipped from her hand and clattered to the floor. Mrs. Beatrice came in and closed the door, locked it from the inside. "I asked you a question." I was cleaning." Liar. Mrs. Beatrice approached slowly, like a predator circling its prey. "You were rummaging through my things. You were taking pictures." She picked up the phone from the floor before Maria Clara could react. She looked at the screen and saw the photos of the notebook. Mrs. Beatrice's face went white, then red. Then it returned to its unsettling calm. "So you know." It wasn't a question. It was a statement. Maria Clara backed away until she hit the wall. "Please, Mrs. Beatrice, do you know how long I've planned this?" Mrs. Beatrice said, her voice strangely calm. 2 years, 2 years studying plants, dosages, symptoms, all calculated to look like a natural illness. And now you, a foolish maid, are going to ruin everything? "I won't tell anyone, I swear." "Of course you will. You've already taken photos. You're probably already thinking of going to the police." Mrs. Beatrice took out a revolver. Maria Clara's legs gave out. "Please, no. Don't worry. I won't kill you. That would be too obvious." Mrs. Beatrice smiled, a cold, calculating smile. "But I'll make sure you don't leave here until I decide what to do with you." She pointed the gun at Maria Clara. "Come, go downstairs in front of me. And don't even think about screaming or making a scene. If you do, I'll shoot. And I'll say you attacked me. Who will believe you?" Maria Clara went downstairs, the gun pointed at her back. Mrs. Beatrice guided her to the back of the house, to a room Maria Clara had never seen. It was an old pantry, windowless, with only a heavy wooden door. "Go in," Maria Clara obeyed. The pantry was dark and smelled of mold. It had empty shelves and cobwebs on the ceiling. "Stay quiet in there while I figure out what to do." Mrs. Beatrice closed the door. Maria Clara heard the key turning in the lock, then the footsteps fading away. She was alone in the dark. Maria Clara leaned against the cold wall and slid to the floor. The darkness was almost total. Only a sliver of light passed under the door. Her heart pounded so hard it hurt. She tried to scream, but her voice came out weak, muffled by the thick walls. No one would hear. The pantry was at the back of the house, far from the kitchen and other rooms. How long was she there? Impossible to know. It felt like hours. Despair grew, rising in her throat like bile. She thought about trying to break down the door, but it was too heavy. She thought about screaming again, but what good would it do? Mrs. Beatrice was right. Who would believe a maid against a woman of society? And now she had Maria Clara's phone with all the photos. She could simply delete everything. Tears began to fall. She had been foolish. She should have gone straight to the police when she found out about the poison. Now she was trapped there. And Mr. Peterson continued to be poisoned, and no one would know the truth. Suddenly, she heard footsteps outside. The key turned in the lock. The door opened. It wasn't Mrs. Beatrice, it was Josephine. The woman held a small flashlight. Her face was worried, scared. Maria Clara, thank goodness, she helped the girl up. Josephine, how did you do? I saw her bring you here. I waited for her to leave and got the spare key. Josephine glanced nervously down the hallway. Come on, you need to get out of this house, now. They ran through the back, exiting through the kitchen door. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and red. Josephine guided Maria Clara through the garden, towards the back gate that led to the pasture. You need to leave the estate. Grab your things and go. Mrs. Beatrice is dangerous. But what about Mr. Peterson? She's killing him, Josephine. I saw the proof. I know. Josephine's voice came out low, full of guilt. I always knew. Maria Clara stopped midway. You knew. I suspected. I saw the strange things, the little plants, his worsening condition, but I was afraid. I have family who depend on my salary. If I said anything and lost my job. So you kept quiet while a man was being murdered. Josephine lowered her head, ashamed. I'm a coward, I know, but now you can do things differently. You can go to the police, tell them everything. I can't. She took my phone with the photos. I have no proof. That's when they heard Mrs. Beatrice's voice shouting from inside the house. Maria Clara, where are you? Josephine pushed Maria Clara. Go, run, get out of the estate. And you? I'll stay. I'll say I didn't see anything. Maria Clara hesitated, but Mrs. Beatrice's shout grew closer. She ran. She went through the back gate and into the pasture. The grass was high, making it hard to run. She stumbled several times but kept going. Behind her, she heard the shouts fading. She ran until she couldn't anymore. She stopped behind a large eucalyptus tree, her lungs burning. She looked back. The estate was a dark silhouette against the orange sky. A few windows were lit. Now what? Where to go? The town was too far to walk. It was already getting dark. And without money, without ID, without anything, what would she do? That's when she saw headlights on the dirt road. A car was coming towards the estate. Maria Clara made a decision. She ran to the road and stood in the middle, waving. The car slowed and stopped. It was a small delivery truck. The driver rolled down the window. He was a middle-aged man, stout, wearing a baseball cap. What happened, miss? Are you lost? Please, sir, can you give me a ride to town? It's urgent. The man looked at her, seeing her state, clothes dirty with dust, disheveled hair, tears on her face. Are you running from something? Please, it's a matter of life or death. He hesitated, but something in her desperation convinced him. Get in. Maria Clara climbed into the passenger seat. The truck pulled away, leaving Santa Cruz Estate behind. She looked in the rearview mirror and saw a figure on the veranda. Even from a distance, she recognized Mrs. Beatrice's silhouette, standing there watching. During the drive to town, Maria Clara told the driver everything. He listened in silence, his face growing increasingly serious. Miss, this is a job for the police. I know, but she took my phone. I had photos, proof, but now I have nothing. Even so, you have to report it. A man is dying. He was right. They arrived in town when the sky was completely dark. The driver stopped in front of the police station. Go, tell the sheriff everything. I'll wait here in case you need a witness. Maria Clara got out of the truck and entered the police station. There was only one officer on duty, a young man who was drinking coffee. Good evening. Can I help you? I need to report a crime. There's a crime happening at Santa Cruz Estate. The officer grabbed a notepad. What kind of crime? Attempted murder. The lady of the estate is poisoning her husband. The officer stopped writing. He looked at her skeptically. That's a serious accusation, young lady. Are you sure about what you're saying? Absolutely. I worked there. I saw everything. She has a greenhouse with poisonous plants, makes extracts and puts them in his tea every day. I found a notebook where she wrote down the dosages. And where is this notebook? She took it. She also took my phone where I had taken pictures. So you have no proof? No, but... Miss, without proof I can't do anything. I can't just invade the property of a respectable family based solely on your word. But he's going to die. He's dying right now. If you have any concrete evidence, come back here, then we can act. Until then, there's nothing we can do. Maria Clara felt her anger grow, despair, impotence. You'll only do something when he's dead, is that it? Miss, I understand your concern, but the law is the law. I need proof. Maria Clara stormed out of the police station, shouting. The driver was still waiting. So? They won't do anything. They said they need proof. The man sighed. Then we need to get proof. How? He thought for a moment. You said there's a notebook, right? And the jars of poison in the greenhouse? Yes. Then we go back there and get those things. With physical evidence, they'll have to act. But it's dangerous. I'll go with you. We'll go in, get what we need and leave. Quick and quiet. Maria Clara looked at him, surprised by the courage of this stranger. Why are you doing this? Because I also had a mother who was a victim of violence and no one helped. I won't let that happen again if I can prevent it. Maria Clara felt a wave of gratitude. All right, let's go back. They returned to Santa Cruz Estate in the middle of the night. The driver, who introduced himself as Mr. Raymond, parked the truck a little before the main gate, hidden among the trees on the road. We'll go on foot from here, less noise. He grabbed a small flashlight from the glove compartment. You know the place. Lead the way. Maria Clara's stomach was tied in knots with nerves, but she agreed. They hopped over the low back wall and entered the estate grounds. The house was dark with only a few garden nightlights on. The greenhouse is over there. She pointed to the glass structure near the opposite wall. They crossed the lawn, crouching, always alert for any movement. They reached the greenhouse. The padlock was locked. How do we open this? He whispered. The spare key is hanging in the utility room. I'll get it. Maria Clara went to the back of the house. The kitchen door was unlocked as usual. She entered slowly, treading carefully to avoid making noise. She took the key from the hook and returned. They opened the greenhouse. The strong smell of earth and plants filled the air. Maria Clara went straight to the workbench at the back. The glass jars were still there, all labeled. This is it. She picked up 3 different jars. Poison, all documented. Great. Now for the notebook. It's in her room, 3rd floor. He grimaced. That complicates things, but we'll try. They put the jars in a backpack Mr. Raymond had brought. They returned to the house. The kitchen remained empty and silent. They began to climb the stairs, each step seeming to make a deafening noise in the stillness of the night. They reached the 3rd floor. Maria Clara guided Mr. Raymond to the last door down the hall. She slowly turned the doorknob. Locked. Damn, she whispered. Is there another way in? No. This is the only way. He looked at the lock. It was old, one of those with a big key. Wait here. He went downstairs and returned a few minutes later with a thin wire. He fiddled with the lock for a few seconds until they heard a click. The door opened. They entered the dark room. Maria Clara used the flashlight on the phone Mr. Raymond lent her, pointing it downwards to avoid attracting attention. She went to the bed and knelt, looking for the shoebox. It wasn't there. Panic began to rise. She must have hidden it somewhere else. They started searching. Wardrobes, drawers, under the furniture, nothing. The notebook was gone. Maria Clara. Mr. Raymond called from the other side of the room. Look at this. He was pointing at the fireplace. Inside there were remnants of burned paper, scorched pages, some still with visible words. Maria Clara picked up a piece. She recognized Mrs. Beatrice's handwriting. It was the notebook. She had burned it. No. Tears returned. She destroyed everything. Calm down. We still have the jars. That's something. But without the notebook, how do we prove she was using this on him? She can say it's just gardening supplies. That's when they heard a door open somewhere on the floor, footsteps in the hallway. Someone was awake. Maria Clara and Mr. Raymond exchanged terrified glances. There was nowhere to run. If they left the room, they'd run straight into whoever was out there. The footsteps approached. They stopped at the door. The doorknob turned. Maria Clara and Mr. Raymond hid behind the wardrobe, holding their breath. The door opened. A silhouette entered. By the faint light from the hallway, Maria Clara recognized him. It was Mr. Peterson. He stumbled to the bed, his breathing heavy. He sat on the edge, his head in his hands. He looked exhausted, defeated. Maria Clara slowly emerged from behind the wardrobe. Mr. Peterson. He looked up with a start. It took him a few seconds to focus on her. You, the new girl. Yes, Maria Clara. She approached. Sir, I know what Mrs. Beatrice is doing. She's putting poison in your tea. I saw it. I have proof. Mr. Peterson's face contorted. It wasn't surprise. It was confirmation of something he already suspected. I knew. His voice came out weak, hoarse. Deep down, I always knew. But I didn't want to believe it. Why didn't you say anything, sir? Why didn't you call the police? And say what? That my own wife is killing me. Who would believe it? All the doctors say it's an illness. I had no proof. Now we do. Mr. Raymond showed the backpack with the jars. Poison from her greenhouse. Mr. Peterson looked at the jars. Tears began to stream down his pale face. How much time? How much time do I have? I don't know, sir, but if we go to the police now, with this evidence and your testimony, she'll deny everything. She'll say I'm delirious because of my illness. She'll say you two are making up stories to manipulate me. But we have the jars. They can be tested, proven toxic. And she'll say it's gardening supplies, that she never put anything in my food. Maria Clara's frustration grew. He was right. Even with the jars, it would be difficult to prove. So what do we do? Let her keep killing you? He remained quiet for a long moment. Then he stood up, trembling but with determination in his eyes. No, enough. I'm going to confront her. Now, sir, that's dangerous. I'm dying anyway. I'd rather die on my feet than lie down like a coward. He left the room before they could stop him. Maria Clara and Mr. Raymond followed him. Mr. Peterson went to the room across the hall and opened the door without knocking. Mrs. Beatrice was there, sitting at her dressing table, brushing her hair. She turned with a start. Fernando, what are you doing awake? I know, Beatrice. His voice came out firm, stronger than seemed possible. I know everything. Her face went pale. What are you talking about? About the poison, the plants, how you're slowly killing me. For a second, panic flashed in her blue eyes. But then her mask of control returned. You're delirious. The illness is affecting your mind. And no, he shouted with a strength that surprised everyone. Don't lie anymore. I know. She knows. He pointed at Maria Clara. Everyone knows. Mrs. Beatrice slowly stood up. Her gaze went from Fernando to Maria Clara, then to Mr. Raymond. Calculating. Evaluating. You've trespassed on my property. You entered my room. You're accusing me of absurd things. Her voice turned cold. I'll call the police. Good. Mr. Raymond stepped forward. Call them. And when they arrive, we'll show them the jars of poison we took from your greenhouse. We'll request a toxicology report on Mr. Peterson. We'll tell them everything. Mrs. Beatrice's mask cracked. For the first time, she seemed truly scared. You have no proof of anything. Yes, we do, Mr. Peterson said. And even if we didn't, now I know the truth. I'm going to the doctors. I'm going to stop taking anything you give me. I'm going to get real treatment. And if you try to stop me, I'll scream so loud the entire estate will hear. The silence that followed was dense, heavy. Mrs. Beatrice stood there, her fists clenched, her face contorted between rage and despair. Then she did something unexpected. She collapsed to the floor, weeping. I didn't want to do this. Her voice came out choked. But you left me no choice. You were going to leave me. You were going to be with that woman. Mr. Peterson looked at her, confused. What woman? What are you talking about? Don't pretend you don't know. I saw the messages. I know you were having an affair. I never had an affair, Beatrice. I was always faithful to you. Liar! The scream echoed through the room. Mrs. Beatrice stood up, her face red, tears streaming down. I saw the messages on your phone. That lawyer from New York. You were going to run away together. What lawyer? Beatrice, I never. And then the truth dawned on everyone like a lightning bolt. Mrs. Beatrice was insane. Insane with jealousy, with paranoia. She had concocted a story in her own head and was killing her husband over an affair that never existed. Mr. Peterson stumbled and sat on the edge of the bed, too shocked to react. Maria Clara and Mr. Raymond stood still, unsure what to do. Mrs. Beatrice continued to cry, words coming out between sobs. You don't love me anymore. You haven't loved me for years. I saw how you looked at her at that event in New York. I saw how you talked. Beatrice. Mr. Peterson's voice came out tired. Dr. Marcia is my lawyer, that's all. We talked about the estate contracts, nothing more. Liar. I know it's a lie. You're sick, Beatrice. You need help. I am not sick, she shrieked. You're the one who made me sick. You and your indifference. Your days working on the estate, ignoring me, treating me like furniture. I worked to give you a good life, for us to have a future. Future? She laughed, a bitter laugh. What future? Alone in this huge house, no children, no family, just me and the staff? Mr. Peterson lowered his head. For the first time, he seemed to understand his wife's pain, but it didn't justify anything. You tried to kill me, Beatrice, because of unfounded jealousy. Do you understand the gravity of that? She went quiet, her gaze lost. I just wanted you to see me, but to pay attention to me. And you thought killing me would solve it, I thought. I thought if you couldn't have anyone else, you'd be mine forever. The distorted logic left everyone speechless. Mrs. Beatrice had completely lost touch with reality. That's when they heard voices downstairs, hurried footsteps, the front door opening. Police! Someone called the police! Maria Clara and Mr. Raymond exchanged confused glances. They hadn't called. Who? Josephine appeared in the doorway of the room, panting. It was me. I'm sorry, Maria Clara. I was afraid something would happen to you. I called the police and told them everything. The police officers came up the stairs. There were 3 of them. The town sheriff came first, the same one who had dismissed Maria Clara earlier. What's going on here? Everyone started talking at once. The sheriff raised his hand. One at a time. Mr. Peterson, can you explain? Mr. Peterson, still weak but with a firm voice, told them everything. His suspicions, Maria Clara's discovery, the jars of poison, Mrs. Beatrice's confession. The sheriff listened carefully. Then he looked at Mrs. Beatrice, who was sitting on the floor, hugging her knees, her gaze empty. Ma'am, do you confirm these accusations? She didn't answer. She just shook her head as if she were in another world. I'll need everyone to come to the station. We'll take statements, collect evidence, and run the necessary tests. It took over an hour to get everyone to town. Mrs. Beatrice was handcuffed, still silent. Mr. Peterson went by ambulance, accompanied by paramedics who had already begun first aid. At the police station, Maria Clara gave her full statement. She showed the jars of poison they had taken from the greenhouse. She told them about the book in the library, about the locked greenhouse, about the burned notebook. Mr. Raymond confirmed everything. Josephine also gave her statement, admitting she had suspected for a long time, but was afraid to speak up. Mr. Peterson was taken to the regional hospital. Urgent blood tests were performed. Hours later, the results came back. Presence of toxic substances at dangerous levels, cardiac glycosides, alkaloids, all consistent with plant poisoning. Mrs. Beatrice was formally arrested. As she offered no resistance and was clearly in a psychological crisis, she was taken to the psychiatric ward of the hospital. It was almost dawn when Maria Clara and Mr. Raymond finally left the police station. The sun was rising on the horizon, painting the sky pink and gold. Now what? Mr. Raymond asked. What will you do? I don't know. I think I'll go back to my hometown. There's no reason to stay here anymore. You saved a man's life, Maria Clara. That's no small feat. I just did what was right." He smiled. "Not everyone does what's right when it's dangerous. You are courageous." Maria Clara felt the tears return, but this time they were tears of relief. She was alive, Mr. Peterson was alive, and the truth had come to light. "Thank you for helping me. I don't know what I would have done without you." "No need to thank me. I also did what was right." They said goodbye with a hug. Mr. Raymond got back in his truck and drove off. Maria Clara stayed there in the town square, watching the day break. She thought about everything that had happened in the past few weeks, how she had arrived at that estate full of hope, seeking a fresh start, how she had uncovered a terrible secret, how she had risked everything to do the right thing. Now she didn't know what lay ahead. But she felt a strange peace, the peace of someone who had done what needed to be done, even when afraid. The following days were a whirlwind. Maria Clara stayed in a simple boarding house in town, paid for by Mr. Peterson, who insisted on covering all her expenses. She needed to stay nearby to give more statements and participate in the investigations. The case made headlines in the local newspapers. Woman tries to poison husband on luxury estate. Brave maid uncovers crime in rural elite. The reports were full of details, some true, others fabricated. Maria Clara avoided reading them. She didn't want to be seen as a hero. She had only done what any decent person would do. Mr. Peterson remained hospitalized for 2 weeks. Doctors worked to eliminate the toxins from his system. Fortunately, since Mrs. Beatrice had been administering small doses to avoid suspicion, the damage wasn't irreversible. With proper treatment, he would make a full recovery. Maria Clara visited him at the hospital one Sunday afternoon. He was sitting up in bed, looking much better than the last time she saw him. Color had returned to his face. His eyes were bright, attentive. "Maria Clara, please, come in." She entered shyly. She wasn't sure how to act around him now that everything had changed. "How are you feeling, sir?" "Better every day. The doctors say I'll be discharged in another week." He gestured to the chair beside the bed. "Sit down, I need to talk to you." Maria Clara sat, her hands nervous in her lap. "I'll never be able to thank you enough for what you did. You saved my life. You risked your own to save me. Why? You barely knew me." "Because it was the right thing to do. But many people don't do the right thing when it's hard, when it's dangerous." He leaned forward. "You're a special person, Maria Clara, and I want to reward you." "You don't have to, Mr. Peterson. I didn't do it for money. I know. But I still want to help. You lost your job because of me. Your life was turned upside down. It wasn't because of you, it was because of her." He paused, pain visible on his face as he thought of his wife. "I still can't believe it. Beatrice was always intense, jealous at times, but I never imagined she was capable of this." "What will happen to her?" "She will be tried, but her lawyers will plead insanity. She'll probably spend years in a psychiatric institution." He sighed. "Part of me feels pity. She's ill, but another part just feels anger. It's normal to feel both." They were silent for a moment. "And the estate?" Maria Clara asked. "What will happen to it?" "I'll continue to run it. It's my work, my life. But I don't know if I can live in that house again. Too many memories, too much pain." "I understand. That's why I'm thinking of selling it, starting over somewhere else." He looked at her. "And I'd like you to come with me." Maria Clara blinked, surprised. "What do you mean?" "I want to offer you a job, not as a domestic worker, as a personal assistant, someone I can trust, someone honest, courageous, like you." "Mr. Peterson, I don't know if I—" "Before you answer, listen to what I have to offer. A fair salary far above what you were earning, housing included, and I'll pay for your education. You'll go to college. Whatever course you want." Maria Clara felt tears well up. "Why? Why would you do all this for me?" "Because you deserve it. Because you saved me. And because—" He hesitated. "Because you made me see that there's still goodness in the world. that there are still people who do what's right just because it's right. I need people like that near me. I need that energy to start over. Maria Clara wiped her tears with the back of her hand. I don't know what to say. Say yes, at least think about it. I'll think about it, I promise. They talked a little more. Mr. Peterson spoke about his plans, how he wanted to change his life, be less focused solely on work, live more. Maria Clara told him about her family, about the siblings she left behind in the drought-stricken region, about the struggle to survive. When she left the hospital, Maria Clara felt different, lighter. For the first time in a long time, she felt she had a future, options, possibilities. In the following days, she thought a lot about the offer. She talked to Aunt Joanna on the phone. Her aunt was touched and encouraged her. Go for it. Girl, it's the chance of a lifetime, take it. Maria Clara also spoke with Josephine, who had been let go from the estate once the case came to light, but Mr. Peterson had already found her a new job in a family home in town with better pay. Yes, go, Maria Clara, you deserve all the best, and Mr. Peterson is a good man, he'll treat you right. At the end of the second week, Maria Clara made her decision. She went to the hospital and found Mr. Peterson already preparing for discharge. I accept your job offer and your help. The smile he gave was genuine, full of relief and happiness. You won't regret it, I promise. I know. And she truly knew. For some reason, she trusted him. Perhaps because she had seen him at his worst, vulnerable and scared. Or perhaps because she recognized in him a kindness similar to her own. 3 months later, Maria Clara was in a small but comfortable apartment in Philadelphia. Mr. Peterson had sold Santa Cruz estate and bought a smaller, more modern property near the city. He managed his businesses from there, but with balance, without his previous obsession. Maria Clara enrolled in a business administration program at college. She studied at night, and during the day helped Mr. Peterson with paperwork, contracts, and meetings. She learned quickly. She was smart and dedicated. The relationship between them was strange at first. He was technically her boss, but he didn't act like one. He treated her with respect, as an equal. He asked for her opinion, listened to what she had to say, and little by little a genuine friendship emerged. They sometimes had dinner together, talking about everything. Maria Clara spoke about college, her classmates, difficult subjects. He spoke about his businesses, about memories from his youth, about the mistakes he made in his marriage. I was a bad husband, Maria Clara. Now I see that. I left Beatrice alone, too focused on work. It's no excuse for what she did, but I bear some of the blame. You're not to blame for her losing her mind, no. But I am to blame for not realizing she was unwell, for not paying attention to the signs. It was a lesson he would carry for life. Mrs. Beatrice was tried and deemed not criminally responsible due to a mental disorder. She was sentenced to compulsory psychiatric treatment for an indefinite period. Mr. Peterson didn't visit her. It still hurt too much. One afternoon, Mr. Peterson called Maria Clara into his office. He was smiling in a mysterious way. I have a surprise for you. What surprise? He handed her an envelope. Maria Clara opened it. Inside were plane tickets to Miami. You haven't seen your family in months. You deserve a vacation. You'll spend 2 weeks with them. It's all paid for. Maria Clara felt a lump in her throat. Mr. Peterson. And there's more. He handed her another envelope. For your mother. To help with household expenses for your siblings. Maria Clara opened it. It was a generous check. Tears came uncontrollably. I don't know how to thank you. No need to thank me. You've done more for me than money can repay. It's the least I can do. Maria Clara hugged him, crying, and for the first time since everything happened, she felt she had a family there too. Not by blood, but by choice. Of mutual respect, of gratitude and affection. The weeks in Miami were wonderful. Seeing her mother, her siblings, the land where she grew up. She told them everything that had happened, the challenges, the fears, the victory. Her mother cried with pride. My brave daughter, I always knew you were special. When she returned to Philadelphia, Maria Clara was invigorated, ready to continue building her new life. Months turned into a year. Maria Clara graduated from college with honors. Mr. Peterson was at the graduation, applauding, standing up when her name was called. He looked like a proud father. She got a job at a large company, but continued working part-time for Mr. Peterson. She didn't need the money, but she enjoyed it. She liked the routine, his company, their conversations. One Friday night after work, they were having dinner at a quiet restaurant. Mr. Peterson suddenly became serious. "Maria Clara, I need to tell you something." "What is it?" "I'm thinking of starting a foundation, an NGO to help vulnerable women, to offer jobs, training, education, so they can have the same opportunities I gave you." Maria Clara smiled. "I think that's a beautiful idea, and I wanted you to direct the foundation. You know what it's like to be in need. You know what it's like to need opportunity. You are perfect for the role." Maria Clara was speechless. It was an enormous responsibility, but also an opportunity to help other women like herself. "I accept, with one condition." "What is it?" "That we call it the Hope Foundation, because that's what will give these women hope for a better future." Mr. Peterson extended his hand. "Deal." They shook hands, sealing the agreement. And in that moment, Maria Clara understood that all the pain, all the fear, all the danger she had gone through had led her to this point, to a place where she could make a difference in the lives of other people. Her story had begun with desperation, with a journey to a mysterious estate in search of survival, but it transformed into something much greater, into courage, into justice, into redemption. Mr. Peterson made a full recovery. He never remarried, but he made peace with the past. He learned to live in the present, valuing true friendships. And he always saw Maria Clara as the person who not only saved his life but taught him the true meaning of kindness. Maria Clara never forgot those days at Santa Cruz Estate. The sleepless nights, the paralyzing fear, the decision to do what was right even when it was dangerous. It shaped her. It transformed her from a frightened young woman into a strong, confident, capable woman. And whenever a beneficiary of the Hope Foundation came to thank her for the opportunity, with tears in their eyes and gratitude in their hearts, Maria Clara remembered why she had gone through it all. Because some stories need to happen so that others can begin. And so we reach the end of this intense journey. If this story touched your heart in any way, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next emotional stories, and comment below telling us what you thought. What moment impacted you the most? What would you do if you were Maria Clara? Share your reflections with us. And if you know someone who needs to hear a story about courage and doing what's right even when it's difficult, share this video. Until the next story, and may you always have the courage to do what is right, no matter the consequences.